We'll now take a brief look at some of the other helpful tools and functions available. We've already looked at the control bar as a whole, but it is a collection of modules for performing various tasks as well as displaying information. The file management module is for easy access to open, save, export and burn functions. The transport module has controls for transport similar to a typical CD player. Here is where playback can be started and stopped, fast forward and rewind are also here. There's also a master level fader and meter, icons to turn off loop and punch record, and there's a display region for information including the now time and other project settings. The metronome controls are also here. There are also modules for tools, screensets and help. We'll look at each in more detail as we need to. The HUD we've already seen, and the main tools can be selected from here or the control bar tool module or using their keyboard shortcut. First is the Smart tool, which is the default tool and its keyboard shortcut is F5. It's called the Smart tool because it adapts its functions based on the view that has focus and whereabouts it is in relation to data in that view. For example, it has different functions when over a clip in the track view to when it's over a note in the PRV. We'll be looking at these various functions in detail when we get to editing. Other tools are F6 for the Select tool and F7 for the Move tool. The Edit tool is a multifunction tool for editing. Click and hold on it to reveal three modes: Edit, Timing and Split. Pressing F8 also cycles through these modes. Similarly, the Erase tool has two modes, Erase and Mute. Its shortcut is F10. We'll be looking at using the Mute tool later when we look at comping a track together from multiple takes. The Draw tool also has several modes and we'll be looking at some of these in more detail when editing envelopes. Its shortcut is F9. Note Draw Length selection is also available from the HUD or the tool module. Used primarily for the PRV and staff views, the standard note lengths are all available as well as Last Touched, the length of which can vary based on the last selected note. We'll see this in use later. I've also mentioned the Snap Grid briefly in earlier videos, so let's take a look at that. The Snap Grid is a virtual grid that can be used to help line up or place clips, notes and other events at specific points relative to the timeline. It can be turned on or off by pressing N or clicking on the Snap Grid icon. Set it to your preferred resolution using the Snap Settings option found by left-click and holding on the on-off icon. Standard musical durations are here, including being able to modify them to triplet or dotted values. It's also possible to set an absolute number of ticks, seconds, frames or samples. Leave this window floating if you'd like to be able to see the current setting. Whether the event is moved to a precise location on the grid or moved by the set duration is controlled by the Snap To and Snap By choices. The Smart Grid is a dynamic choice of snap. When this is turned on, the actual snap value varies depending on zoom level. As the view is zoomed in, the snap duration becomes finer and reduces as the view is zoomed out again to maintain an optimum snap setting. How effective the snap is can be adjusted in Preferences. Either press Shift+N to go directly to them, or open Preferences and navigate to the Customization Snap to Grid page. Here, there is a snap intensity slider that ranges from light to extreme. On the lightest setting, there is very little pull from or snap to the snap points. On extreme, the pull is so strong it's almost impossible to place an event anywhere other than a snap point. You can test the setting using the magnetic test bar. The snap to zero crossing points I mentioned earlier and applies to audio waves. If this is checked, the snap point will actually be the nearest zero crossing point of the audio waveform, which will help keep clicks and pops to a minimum when splitting or trimming audio clips. Another handy function is X-ray. This will make plug-in and synth windows virtually transparent, making it possible to access the interface underneath them. This can be quicker than closing and reopening windows just to make a quick adjustment or edit, for example. Press Shift+X to activate or deactivate it on the window under the cursor, or use Ctrl+Shift+X to X-ray all windows regardless of cursor position. The fade-out time and opacity are adjustable on the display page of preferences. Now we've had an introduction to some of the views and tools available to use, and we can see that there are many different ways to set them up. Instead of moving windows around as and when we need to perform various tasks, wouldn't it be great if we could set the program up for a task and then recall that view when we need it? The good news is we can. They're called screensets. There are 10 slots available to use, and they can be recalled either by pressing the relevant number key from 1 to 0, or using the screenset submenu in the Views menu, or the screenset module in the control bar. Not only are the windows in a view remembered, but so are many other things, such as the view zoom level, track heights, auto zoom settings, widget view setting, and much more. There are several already preset and locked, but of course these can be unlocked and changed to suit your needs. The drop-down in the control bar is probably the easiest way of managing screensets. From here, they can be duplicated to another slot by selecting the option and a target, but note that the target screenset must be unlocked first. A locked screenset will not remember any changes you make to the view. For example, if I hide the inspector in this locked screenset, change to a different one, and then switch back again, the inspector is now showing again. If I unlock the screenset and repeat that process, the inspector does not show. If you want changes to stick, just unlock the screenset and then make them. Relock it to prevent further changes. Also on this menu are options to rename and revert, but to rename the screenset, it does need to be unlocked first. Revert screenset simply undoes any changes you have made to the screenset since the last save and returns it to its initial state. You'll find screensets a handy addition to your workflow as you use the program.